Giga. Hello everyone and welcome to a second Magicka video. So the last build that I put up pretty recently was a dualweild and Resto staff build. This one is a Destro Resto build, and in my opinion both builds are really top tier. This one is the one that I've had the best success with, and it is different. We'll leave it at that. It's different, alright? And you'll see that in a sec if I ever weapon swap. So, this build is making the most of all of our Nightblade passives in terms of the Shadow and Siphoning tree. Our last one was using the Assassination and the Siphoning tree passives. It's pretty much impossible to get the full benefit of all passives as a Nightblade because there's some pretty good ones in there. There are some shit ones and there are some strong ones, but you have to kind of select carefully which ones you want to make the most of. And this one is all built around the Shadow and the Siphoning passives and benefiting with the sets that we put together with those passives. So, like I said, Destro Resto, we're going to start with the stats, and this is where it starts as pretty unbelievable. So remember that right now I do not have a spell damage buff up. I could obviously get that up and I could get my weapon damage. You know what, I'll do that. So we're going to put an image up. You can guess why probably. I'm going to swap to this bar and I'm going to line attack once, and that's going to proc our weapon damage. So we are 3k spell damage, 34k health, 46k Magicka, 2.5k magic recovery, and our crit resist is 2.7k. Before we do anything, I'm in light armor. This is not a heavy armor build. You'll notice my stats in my stamina pool are relatively low. You're going to have to be an experienced Magicka again to get around that, but the way we deal with that is with siphoning attacks. You could also sacrifice a bit of Magicka and run more triglyphs if you do struggle, but I would suggest learning how to use siphoning attacks properly, as it's bread and butter to a shield stacking Magicka. It really is the most important skill. I've played that since 1.1, the very first patch of this game, back when it was a toggle. It is the skill to run. Pardon me, sorry. So yeah, stats are really good. Our crit is 46% on our main bar, which is decent, not bad at all. But anyway, let's move on to our sets first. So we are using one Infernal Guardian, that is on the helmet. That's a medium armor piece for the Undaunted passives there. Gives us max Magicka, and it is of course impan, as are all of our armor. We're using 5 Necro. This is on the armor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 Necro. You'll notice that all are Magicka enchanted. So that's our second set. And our third set, and this is where some people won't realize how good this set can work with a Nightblade, is the Plague Doctor set. This gives us health, healing taken, and max health galore. And this is what's making us so tanky. Now, what's weird about this build, apart from the fact that's triglyph, that is triglyph, okay, fine. Fine, whatever. What's weird about this build is that we are running our jewelry as Plague Doctor as well. So our jewelry is actually in the healthy trait. If you ran Necro there, you'd be forced into running heavy on the jewelry, on the armor, sorry, because that's the only way you can get Plague Doctor. That is not worth your time. You want to play this in light armor. It's the way to go, I promise you. So make sure that you're running your jewelry on the healthy trait, and just accept that it's a loss of Magicka, but it is still a beneficial stat. People underestimate how strong health can be. Even I did until given advice by a few people, and I think it's very strong. Next is the Plague Doctor Inferno Staff Sharpened and Resto Staff Defending. So we're running those as our weapons. This one's got the spell damage enchant, and this one on the back has this poison here, and this is a pretty important part of the build actually, and I'll explain why in a sec. Drain cells from your target, dealing 1,400 poison damage and restoring the health. And then the other one is deals poison damage and restoring that health. The heal over time is really a big part of the build. The reason healing over time is so important in a build like this is that when you are running such a high max health pool, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to get one shot. That means that it's hard to recover, because your healing ward, as good as it is with this sort of Magicka and spell damage, is not going to be your full health. So even if you get the heal, you're going to be miles down on your health. Heal over times really help with higher health builds because they help get your health back up so you're getting the full benefit. Otherwise, after the first burst, you might as well play with 25k health. That is why it helps a lot to have that extra health and healing over time. Again, traits sharpen and defending on those. I do like that trait setup, so I wouldn't change that at all. Our skills. On the front bar, we are running Mage Light. Mage Light, we've got a lot of Magicka. It benefits hugely from that. It's just as strong as Major Sorcery when you're having so much Magicka. It's giving you the same sort of buff on your Magicka. You want to run that on your front bar. You want that for your damage. And you also have your damper magic here. Not harness, damper magic for the extra shield size. You want that on your front bar because, again, you are getting the benefit on your shield from your mage light. So all of it is about stacking passive into skill. We're then running a funnel health. That's our base DPS. We need a siphoning skill on our front bar. I believe that siphoning funnel health is really valuable for this build. It's a nice heal. We're hitting pretty hard with it. 8.8k unbuffed. That's a nice tooltip. If you're on completely minimum buffs, it's probably as low as about 7.2k. That's still fine. When we're buffing up, it's doing great. It's giving us minor vitality for more healing. Excellent. With our healing over time, that's great. And it's giving us a 28% heal based on our damage. All of it good. Merciless Resolve, that's our kill. That is our kill potential, the one and only kill potential that you will ever need as a Mage Nightblade. If you play your class right, you will kill with that skill. So that gives us minor berserk, 8% more damage, and then when we use the cast on it after 4 attacks, we hit super hard with that skill. It hits really, really hard, and it also puts a small snare on them afterwards. Other snare and CC, AoE CC, and putting a shadow skill on our bar for more health is Mass Hysteria. That gives you fear. Free target's going to get CC'd, and it's going to snare them, and it's going to put minor main. Really strong skill. Pretty expensive, but great skill. Definitely put that on your bar on this build. Our ultimate, it's currently unmorphed. You obviously want the Eye of the Storm morph, not the ground one. I just haven't bothered leveling it because I barely ever use it. We're going to use our back bar ulti most of the time. That's on there just to proc the Destro skill passive. So if I go into Destruction Staff, we scroll down to this one here. Flame Staff increases your damage done with single target abilities by 8% when you have a Destruction skill slotted. So we put a Destruction skill on, we're getting the 8% damage just by putting that ultimate on. And it's a good ultimate in general if you want to run Eye of the Storm. So definitely worth the slot. Back bar then, we are running siphoning attacks for sustain. Again, I mentioned it before, when we light attack when we use abilities, we're getting a good amount. It's really important you know how to weave for a build that's on a Mage Nightblade with siphoning attacks. The light attack is a guaranteed amount of resources back. The other one is not a guaranteed resource back. So you want to make sure you're getting the light and the heavy attacks in. Everything else is extra. The other morph is a toggle, so you do not go for that, even though it's giving you another heal. Well, they're running Crippling Grasp. Excellent dot. Bread and butter. It's on every good Mage Blade build. It's so strong a dot. You got to run that. It gives main expedition. It mobilizes them for a sec. Really great skill. Healing Ward. That's our base heal and shield. I've tried even playing without heals on this. You can genuinely do that. If you run Degeneration on this slot, which gives you a heal from light and heavy attacks. That's this one by here. In duels, you will honestly not need heal ward a lot of the time. You can get away with just running Degeneration and using the heal over times and your dampen. You really can do that. It's extra damage, and it gives you a bit more freedom on your pot. Personally, I like this setup. I did try around with not using it, but I can't seem to bring myself to get away from it. Let's quickly kill this. There we go. So then on our back bar, we're using Rapid Regen. Again, like I mentioned, we want to heal over time. It's a tough balance here between Mutagen and Rapid Regen. Both of them are good, and both of them have merits. So Mutagen gives you a burst heal, and it gives you the removal of 2 negative effects when you get low health. I'm going to be honest and say that you don't really get low health much in this build. So in my opinion, going Rapid Regen for the extra heal worked out better. If you prefer Mutagen, by all means take it. It's completely optional. I'm not saying you have to copy this build piece for piece. It's your choice. It's your build in the end. But I think the Rapid Regen is the better here. It's a bigger heal. It's faster heal. Heal over time is really important. Last but not least, again, to give us the Shadow skill passive, we are running Shadow Image. That gives us a teleport away from our enemies whenever we want. It gives us minor maim. It's a small dot. The ultimate fun is a Mage Nightblade. If you're a Mage Nightblade not running the skill, you might as well be a Mage, donkey. It doesn't matter. You want to be a Mage Nightblade, you want Shadow Image every single day. Last but not least, and this is our main ultimate, is the Resto Staff ultimate, Light Champion. So in this build, I think that this is the go-to ultimate. Fully buffed, it's going to tooltip about 10.2k every 1 second heal. That is a huge heal. But more importantly, it gives us major protection and major force, which increases our critical damage done by for 5 seconds by 15%, and reducing your damage taken by 30%. Those buffs are both really strong. The crit damage pairs perfectly with a turn on into your Merciless. So if you're in trouble, you pop your Cripple up, your Siphoning attacks up, your Image up, each with a light attack after this. You go onto this bar, light attack, Resto ulti. I'll quickly show you actually. So light attack this, light attack something. I didn't put my thing up, did I? Here we go. So light attack Siphoning attacks, light attack Rapid Regen, light attack Image. Then we're going to go light attack, rest the ulti, and then our merciless will be ready, and then we'll put that in. Obviously, I got cancelled because this NPC died, and that's when you're going to hit really hard from the extra damage. So that's why we run the rest ulti there. It's just so good for this build. With the max health, it's perfectly strong. It's super, super nice for the rest of the Destro setup. I love it. For this build, it is perfect. So, I'm going to quickly explain why I'm using my Siphoning and Shadow skills as so. So, Siphoning gives you a passive that gives you 8% extra Magicka. That pairs with our Necro. So, one Siphoning skill on our Magicka bar, gives you 8% extra Magicka from your Necro. We get more from our set bonus. That one's pretty obvious to some people. This one is less obvious. Shadow. Refreshing shadows. There it is. Dark Figure. You gain extra health for each shadow ability slotted. So we can actually also buff our Plague Doctor. Unfortunately, there's not really a way to put more shadow skills on your bar. I have played around. When I was running the other Morph of Degen, so the one that you're probably used to of the Mage Guild skill there, you could run that instead of Healwood and then run 2 shadow skills on the other bar. That would work, but in the end I've fallen with this setup and it's my preference. What else have I got to explain? I don't remember. I think I showed my stats. I did show my stats. What else have I explained? I know what I haven't explained. So, we are a Vampire and we are an Atronach Mundus. The Atronach Mundus is giving us our recovery. Our Vampire buffing that recovery significantly. Because our health pool is so high, we're also getting good benefit from a Vampire passive. So let's go to World Vampire. We're getting excellent benefit from Undeath. Reduces your damage taken by up to 33% based on your missing health while you're below 50% health. 50% health for us, that's 100% health for a lot of people. So in this case, that Undeath is really strong. We're getting a lot of benefit from it. So even with the extra fire damage, it's pretty hard for us to die when we're getting low. And it gives us time to pop up our other stuff. So really, really nice there. Anything else? Food. So my food is the Ghastly Eye Bowl. I've tried playing with Witch Mothers and you could use this. Overall, stat-wise, you can definitely run that for even more health. You'll be nearly 40k health and about 39, 38k Magicka. I personally like the extra about 1.5k Magicka you'll get with Ghastly Eye, and the extra recovery is nice at open world. But you can use both. Both of them are viable, both of them are strong. I personally like this one, but I would understand it if people use Witch Mothers. The extra health, super tanky, and your damage is still strong. You're just giving up a bit that I don't like to waste because I like to play a decent damage setup. And in this case, we're barely sacrificing to get the damage from our Magicka, so I like the Ghastly Eyeball, but your choice. And our potions, for our Major Sorcery, we are running Spell Power Pots that will also give us crit on our heal bar, which does not have Mage Light, so Major Prophecy. Mage Light obviously gives that on the Mage bar currently, as well as Burst Magicka and Magicka over time. I tried for a bit using Lingering Health. If you are really, really careful with Sustain or in your raid, I would actually run that. I don't think you need the Spell Power buff. And again, in a raid, I would then drop Healwood off for Degeneration. That way you'll be able to run Lingering Health instead, which is just going to make you nearly immortal. But I think that for solo play, you want to go with Spell Power. So raids, maybe Lingering Health, drop Healing Ward. Out raids, you want to go Spell Damage. Last but not least, our champion points. Some pretty different stuff going on here. Green Tree, generic, 100 Magician, 76 Arcanist, 2 in Tenacity for heavy attacks. You could even take those out and put them somewhere else if you prefer. 22 Tumbling for CC Break. You cannot put less than that in your Tumbling. You are low stamina. You need the points in there. Don't lower that stat. Blue Tree. So this is where things get a bit different. We have 43 in Blessed. That's a lot more than I would normally play on a Magicblade or any other class apart from a Templar. In this case, because we're stacking heal over times into a high max health pool, the healing is worth it. So put 43 in there. It scales great. And that's going to give you a lot of extra healing. 43 in Elfborn, again for the crits on those heals and damage, and both of those paired together with our Elemental Expert, which is 25% more damage, pretty much maxed. It's 99, but close enough. I have 13 in Shattering Blows. That's really nice against Sorks and other shield stacking targets. Really handy. Definitely put those in there. If you want to lower that to 6, you could max up this and put a few more in Elfborn, up to you. And then I have 2 in Firmitude. You don't need many there. It's just for Cripple. That's your only real dot, so I just put a few in there to amp that up. Red Tree, 42 in Crit Resist. You've got them spare. Slam them in. Amp your Crit Resist high. You can make yourself very tanky through a high crit. We are then running with a generic setup here. 6, 43, 43. You'll have seen this in a lot of my videos. It's a very, very strong setup. Unless you go 13, 55, 55. But 6, 43, 43, which leaves us 23 for Bastion and 43 for Quick Recovery. We're not shielding much. Heal word scales off both healing and shields. In that case, the heal is more valuable. The only time I really cast my damper magic is if I'm getting down a bit or if I have a high damage target on me. So you don't need to stack too many points in champion points into there. It doesn't scale really that great, and that's my preference personally. I think I've covered everything. I think so. Knowing me, I won't have, but I think I've covered everything. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. No. Alright, so last thing to quickly explain is your main combo. So combo generically is going to be keep your image up at all times, keep your rapid regen up for a buff, and keep your siphoning attack up for a buff. Pop your pop, light attack cripple. I'm going to move target now. Light attack funnel, light attack funnel, light attack funnel. 3 times in a row. And then you're going to go for your merciless, and that's your kill. And that's where you're going to generate all your damage from. That's where your kill potential comes from. If you pop your rest ulti before that, you're going to get more damage. If you have your Destro, you're going to get the damage from that ulti. Both are really strong. The build works. A lot of people have criticism for the high health, but I'm not sacrificing anything for it. It's strong, it's sexy, it's beautiful. Good luck with the build. I've already got a number of clips. I'm going to start editing them tonight, and you will see that on my YouTube very soon. Have a good one, guys, and I will see you later.